Hello, my name is Abby Granger, and I am a coordinator here at UMBC Shady Grove. My role is to really help students who are interested in applying and transferring to UMBC Shady Grove figure out if they have the coursework that they need in order to transfer, and also to help you through the application process. If you're interested in our general information session recording that has general information about the universities at Shady Grove and UMBC at Shady Grove, please view the video in the description of this video to reference our general information session. This particular video is going to be about how an applicant who's interested in transferring to UMBC would navigate Common App, which is the system that UMBC uses to collect applications from students who are interested in attending. So if you're interested in more general information, again, check out our info session video that's in the comments. If you are at the point of applying to UMBC and you are just looking for a little bit of help on how to navigate Common App, that's what we're going to sort of talk about today. So in order to get to Common App, you can get there a couple of different ways. So from our main webpage, which is shadygrove.umbc.edu, you can click here on our apply button, which is on our homepage. And that will take you to a website that gives you a little bit more information about undergraduate admissions at UMBC Shady Grove. So if you just review this information and then select on apply as an undergraduate student, this will take you to UMBC's admissions page on how UMBC students who are interested in attending the Shady Grove campus should move forward with applying. So if you review this page, you'll see that there are some steps here that are included on how to apply for transfer. Step number one is to plan your transfer, right? This you've hopefully already done if you're interested in transferring soon. Hopefully you've already met with me. If you haven't, please feel free to email me at argranger@umbc.edu to set up a pre-transfer appointment. Or if you would like to call me, my phone number here is 301-738-6281, and we'll get you set up with a pre-transfer advising appointment. So that's step one, to kind of determine if you're eligible to transfer. You'll see step two is to complete the Common App. Now, when I click on that link, it's going to take me out to Common App. So I just want to review these other points first before we move out to Common App. You know, we do expect you, after you complete the application, to submit that $75 application fee and then submit all your official transcripts to us from each college or university that you've attended previously. And there's information here if you attended a college or a university outside of the US, what agencies we will accept evaluations from. There's more information here about some of the optional pieces. If you want to submit letters of recommendation, if you would like to apply to the Honors College, which we'll talk about in a little bit, information about submitting high school transcripts, and other supporting documentation. So this is the overall process. Today, I'm again going to focus on the Common App piece of it because arguably that's kind of the most labor-intensive portion of the application process. So I'm going to scroll back up here, and in step two, I'm going to click on Apply Online, which is going to take us out to the Common App website. So if you've already reviewed that information on our admissions page and on our main page, you can go directly to www.commonapp.org to begin your application for UMBC Shady Grove. So once you get to the commonapp.org website, the first thing you want to do is to create an account. So in the upper right-hand corner, I'm going to go ahead and select Log In. I am a student, so I am going to select that. Now, from this screen, I want to make sure students understand if you have 30 or more credits, you are considered a transfer student. So please be sure before you create your account that you select the Transfer Students tab on this page. From here, you're going to go ahead and select create an account. Now, if you already have an account, go ahead and select click here to sign in. But if you do not have an account, go ahead and create one. You're going to enter a username and a password. Once you have all this filled out, you're going to go ahead and create your account. So after you have created your account and after you've gotten into the main screen, you should see something that looks like this. You should have your 4 tiles with the questions that are included in Common App and the tabs across the top that say My Application, Add Program, Submit Application, and Check Status. So the first thing we encourage our students to do once they get into the Common App is to add program. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that the Common Application knows that you want to apply to the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, because otherwise, hundreds and hundreds of schools use Common App. So until you first tell it where you want to apply, it doesn't know what school you're interested in. So the first thing you want to do is search for the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. Please note that you do have to spell it out. And if you just type in UMBC, you're not gonna get that result. So I'm gonna go ahead and type in University of Maryland, Baltimore County. Now I've already selected UMBC as the school I'm interested in. So for you, this will be a little plus sign. So once you see that, go ahead and select it, and you'll add it to your selected programs. Now, the one thing I'll say about this, just be mindful which term. So right now, the only application that's available is for our fall 2019 entry. Once that spring application for spring 2020 goes live, there will be a second quote unquote program here. So just make sure you're paying attention and you're applying for the semester that you intend to apply for. So once you click the little plus sign and you add UMBC as your program, if you head over here to selected programs, you should see the University of Maryland, Baltimore County listed here as the program that you're interested in applying to. You'll also note you can remove programs. So if you made if you had an accident, you accidentally added a school that you didn't intend to, you can come here and delete it. But you want to make sure you come here and verify that University of Maryland, Baltimore County has been added to your program list so that Common App knows that you would like to apply to UMBC. So from here, if you head back to the My Application screen, this is really where most of the time-consuming work comes in. Each of these tiles, so personal information, academic history, supporting information, and program materials, has a variety of questions that you need to answer. So I'm just going to quickly show you the menu for the personal information section. As you complete the sections, so you'll see here I've already completed quite a few of my sections. As you complete them, you'll start getting these little green check marks that show up to let you know that that section is complete. I'm going to scroll down just a little bit here to show you that I have not completed my parent-guardian section, for example. So, as if I want to complete this section, I would go in and finish the parent-guardian section. So I'm just going to note really quickly that as you move through the questions that are required will be marked with that little red star. If the question is not required, it will not have that little red star. So just something to be cognizant of as you're completing these sections. So if we head back to the My Application tab, you'll see that, in the personal information section, I have one area that I haven't completed yet. So you'll see the status bar isn't quite full. So what you want to do as you move through the sections is make sure that status bar is moving up, and ultimately all of these sections will need to have full status bars, all the sections be complete in order for you to be able to submit the application. So go ahead and work through those questions in the personal information section, work through those questions in academic history, work through those questions in supporting information. Now, the program materials tab, this is where you are going to find the questions that are specific to UMBC. So I'm going to scroll down just a smidget here because I want to show you some questions within the program materials tab. So if I select program materials, and I select, if you have more than one school, you'll have different entries here. If you're just applying to UMBC, you'll just see the UMBC profile here. So if you select that, this is where the UMBC specific questions come into play. So there are 3 sections in this area. There's a document section, the recommendations section, and the questions section. So under the documents section, and I'm just going to select documents here. If you scroll down, you'll see that you'll be able to submit, if you have military service, if you would like to share that paperwork with us, you're able to add that here. We also have sections where you can add any other documentation that was not added in other areas that you do want us to see. You have the opportunity to do that. These additional documents are not required. So if you continue to scroll down, you'll find a button that says, I am not adding any documents. And if you select that, you'll notice that a little green check mark pops up next to the documents section. Same in the recommendations section. As we talked about earlier, recommendations are not required. So I'm just going to head to this. I have already opted to not add any recommendations. I'm just going to select this just so you can see what it looks like. If you would like to submit a recommendation, you would do so under the recommendations tab. So you have the opportunity here to enter information for folks that you would like to submit a letter on your behalf. UMBC, again, does not require letters of recommendation. So if you do not want to add letters, please feel free to not fill this section out. And again, if there's the button there, same in the documents section that says, I do not wish to submit letters of recommendation, you can select that and you'll see what you see here, which is that you have opted not to add any recommendations. But if you choose to add a recommendation, you'll be requested to fill out the recommender's first name, last name. It'll have their email address. You can set a due date and you can write them a little note. So just make sure if you do request a letter of recommendation, you can do so through Common App. And it will send your recommender an email with instructions on how to submit that letter on your behalf. But again, just keep in mind that this is not required. So there are some things that I wanted to show you in the questions tab. So in the questions tab, the questions that I really want to point out first are the intended area of study. And the reason I want to point this out is because this is actually how you're going to indicate your campus of interest. So once you select your area of study, so your major, for this example, we will select psychology. So once you select your major, there will be a question that comes up that prompts you to select your campus. And this is how you will indicate to us that you would like to attend Shady Grove. So this is just a question I like to point out because this is how, in fact, you would make sure we knew that you wanted to attend Shady Grove and not main campus. Keep in mind, this question only pops up if you select a major that's offered at UMBC Shady Grove. So for example, Jazz Studies, which sounds really fun. If you select Jazz Studies as your area of interest, you will notice that there is no question regarding your campus of interest. So as long as you're interested in a major that we offer here at UMBC Shady Grove, which is psychology, political science, social work, history, and translational life science technology, as long as you select one of those majors, there will be a question that pops up that asks you to select which campus you'd like to attend. So moving on down just a little bit, I do like to point out that you do not need to indicate a second major. So if you're not interested, if you just want to study psychology, if you just want to study political science, please feel free to select not interested in this area. You're not required to select a second major. A lot of students think that they're required to, and you're not. So as we keep scrolling down, These are all questions. Again, if they're required, please do complete them. The residency section, I'd like to point this out because these are the questions that determine whether you're in or out of state as far as tuition goes. So as you answer these questions, please just be very careful that you're answering them to the best of your ability. As you answer yes or no to these questions, more questions will pop up. So and most students do want to be considered for in-state, you want to select yes, and then you will see another list of questions. Again, just read these options really carefully, select what best fits your situation. I know for a fact that I'm not, none of these exceptions qualify. I do not qualify for any of these exceptions, so I'm going to select none. You may, so if you're active or veteran military, if you're an employee of the USM system, you know, some of these might apply to you. So just read them very carefully, make sure you're selecting what's most appropriate for you. And then as you answer questions, you know, more questions will pop up. So just, you know, again, keep reading them carefully and just make sure that you're answering them to the best of your ability and carefully. And this is what determines in versus out of state tuition. So this is kind of an important area. So if we keep scrolling down, I'm not going to take the time to go through each of these questions individually, but please do fill them out. As you can see by the red stars, they're all required. Okay. So now we've kind of arrived at the end of the UMBC questions. This is our writing supplement. We do require a writing supplement. It's kind of a choose your own adventure question. You can select any one of these questions to answer. So please, you know, read through them, choose which one speaks to you, what you feel like you can answer really well. Select the question that you want to answer, and then go ahead and answer it in the area we provided to you to write your essay, your personal statement. So I think I've covered most of the sort of broad stroke recommendations that we have for you as you're completing Common App of things to pay attention to. So what I'm going to do really quickly is just back out of the UMBC section and show you what hopefully what will happen when you go to submit the application. So as we sort of talked about earlier, all of these status bars will need to be full in order for you to move forward with submitting your application. Once all of these status circles, I should call them, because they're circles, not bars. Once all of these status circles are full, you'll be able to go to submit application. And this status bar will be full and the submit button will be available to you. Right now, the submit button isn't available to me because I'm not done with all my questions yet. So once I go back and finish up all my questions, I'll be able to come here. You can download your application as a PDF just to review it again, and then go ahead and click submit, and it will take you through the payment, the $75 application fee process. That's really the long and short of the Common Application. My suggestion in terms of completing it is, you know, if you're trying to hit that March 1st deadline, you know, about a month before, just set aside an hour or two every week for, you know, 2 or 3 weeks to really power through all those questions, and then make sure you have those transcripts requested prior to that March 1st deadline. So again, just, you know, set aside a few hours every week in the month and a half or two leading up to that priority deadline to sort of power through some of these questions and make sure you get your application and your transcripts in by our priority deadline. Well, thanks for joining me today. If you have any other questions, please feel free to email me. Again, my email address is A as in apple, R as in Rose, Granger, G-R-A-N as in Nancy, G-E-R, @umbc.edu. And my phone number here at UMBC Shady Grove is 301-738-6281. I'd be happy to chat with you about the Common App process, and I'd be happy to set up an appointment with you to review your previous coursework to make sure you're ready to transfer. And again, if you're still looking for some more general information about UMBC Shady Grove as a whole, please head down to our info session video, which is linked to in the description for this video. Thanks for joining us.